I didn't have the stomach to say that the Ferrari F80 does not have a V12 engine. You know what this all means, right? It means that this car is not in the line of the V12 Ferrari masterpiece. I'm talking the F50, the LaFerrari, the Enzo, and all the rest of them. How did they get it so wrong? But there's one little valuable secret about this car I bet you never knew about. Today we're going to go through the whole mystery of this car. Why the V6 is so hated. Why this is one of the most important Ferraris ever made. My last hope is Porsche. If they come with some 4-cylinder thing, then you're not going to see these cars on the channel again. I mean, you'll see the W1 McLaren, but Porsche must either have a V8, naturally aspirated, or a flat 6. The Ferrari F80 has a V6 and 3 electric motors. Power of the engine goes through a transaxle to the rear wheels. There's one electric motor in the rear that gives power to the rear wheels. The other 2 electric motors give power to the fronts. The really cool thing about this car that I do like is the suspension. The wishbones are bionic architectured. But overall, I don't like this car. I hate it. I'm not gonna like it. I have no doubt it's gonna handle quite well. 4-wheel drive is gonna put those 1,200 horsepower to the ground quite efficiently. But do I like it? No. Also with the Ford GT having a V6 and not a 7-liter V8, the fact is time is moving forward. Because there was a time when if you wanted more than 100 horsepower, you'd have to go 25 liters. Porsche, when they found that fluid-cooled engines are more efficient than air-cooled, they changed. But here's the thing. As technology is moving to higher places, as it seems, petrol engines are definitely getting higher. People are finding 2,000 horsepower out of 0.2 liter single-cylinder engines. Exaggeration. But you get my point. It's also the same in the sense that the Ford GT having a V6 is a good thing because the smaller engine means better handling. And yes, this Ferrari will handle better. Now the fact is, when you are a car company making cars for old people, I mean these road-going Ferraris, they're not meant to be race cars. So why are you putting a lightweight, more efficient V6 in if it doesn't even have a proper rear wing? The thing weighs more than 1 ton. It's not a race car. Slam the V12 in. Give us what we want. You'll get more sales. Here's the thing. If anyone is embracing all the new technology and all the new stuff that's coming into cars, it would kind of be more young people if you think about it. Because all the old people remember the V12 Formula 1 cars. They remember Ground Effect's debut. They remember the fan cars. The production cars, they remember the F50, the F40. And most of all, those really good old legends. 250 GTO, the P30, the Aston Martin DB1. All those legendary old cars. The Porsche 917. You're a car company making production cars for old people who can afford them. Because most people can only become a billionaire and afford a Ferrari when they're old. Look, I mentioned all of this in a previous video about supercars, the purpose of every car. I'm just going through a little bit of it again, so you can know if you didn't see that video. But there's something else hidden. It could be that they're trying to hone new technologies, trying to create new things for performance with the production cars. But then again, that's all absolute rubbish. That theory holds no weight. Because these production cars are getting technologies from Formula 1. All the technologies from Formula 1 are just being trickled down into these production cars. And they're not even taking all of the stuff. Because supercars have their own style, their own pedigree that they hold on to. Perfect example, the V12 that they just dumped. The transaxle gearbox. That was the style of Formula 1 cars in 70s to 80s. Very few cars had transaxles in the 80s, and Ferrari was one of them. While Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost was taking McLaren absolutely to the top. And it wasn't just them, like the cars were amazing, the cars were the best. Look at all the stats. Williams was also good, but you know what was trash? Ferrari, because they still had the older layout, the older balance of the engine being absolutely mid-rear, then differential, and then transaxle. Whereas McLaren, pure midship, then gearbox, then the differential. And Ferrari was sucking. My thing is, if that time in F1 Ferrari was way too stubborn to move on to better technologies, why are they now dumping the V12? It makes no sense. And like I said, the theory on production cars being a plant for new technologies to come up, that's nonsense, because in production cars there's no innovation. These companies do their innovation in Formula 1, in GT3. Guess what? The hypercar Ferrari that just won LeMans, that car has the layout of the current Formula 1. Yet the production car still has the mid-rear ship, transaxle layout. Really, this was dumb. This was so dumb. It was the dumbest thing in the world to drop the V12. It's not accomplishing anything. Because I promise you, the people that buy this F80 Ferrari, more than 90% of them are not going to take it near the limit. There's going to be like 3,000 miles on them. It's going to be a garage queen. Take it for a very, very slow cruise on a Sunday. It's a zillion dollar road going comfortable hypercar. It's not a race car. If you want the comfort with the enjoyment of a Ferrari, you have to have a V12. I'm talking about this flagship special Ferrari V12 range, the range of the hypercars, the line of the hypercar trinity. Remember the old McLaren F1 with the Ferrari Enzo and the Porsche Carrera GT? What a golden age. Then was the LaFerrari, the McLaren P1 and the Porsche 918. Porsche going 4-wheel drive on that one. Then now what do we got? A V6. Oh, okay. Then on the topic of Porsche, we're gonna come back to Porsche because I need to talk about something. We don't know what's happening with this new Porsche that's coming out, supposed to be part of the hypercar trinity, but there's something else. It's called GT3. You see, the GT3 was created by Porsche to be the less for more simplified race car, road going race car, the GT3 and GT3 RS. It never had turbos, it never had 4-wheel drive, and now there's hybrid technology being put into it. Cars are forgetting who they are. Everything is just going down. Cars are forgetting their own identity. In midlife crisis, there's only two conclusions that have come up that can work. It's a way to try new technology. Not in the way you think though. You see, what they are doing is limiting themselves, making it harder for themselves to get the performance they want. Things like weight due to the want of comfort, body roll and all these things like soft suspension, whatever. But even besides that, take Formula 1 stuff and try to work hard to make it all road legal so you can sell these cars. That makes them better at regulations for real racing. And you know Ferrari, their first priority is racing. And McLaren, Porsche, all of them. Enzo Ferrari himself said, I sell road cars to build race cars. Or it could be something else. Maybe they think that all the old man billionaires like all the new F1 stuff, like the V6s, the electric motors and all of the new technology. But also they'd be very dumb and deluded if they thought that. Because every single other person is complaining about the V6. That's why the only thing I can think of, they're practicing fast compensation for tight regulations, changing like I changed my socks. Practice for racing. But then again, why do they need that? They have a whole racing team for that. It's not going to do much. What's the point? Something very clever that Ferrari and McLaren and Porsche and all of them have been doing. It's not even clever, like it's a standard thing. That's build a race car canvas and then put all the road stuff on it, make your production car. We know this. You make the 458 and then you make the 458 GT3. But here's the thing, they're not even using that canvas. The Ferrari hypercar that just won Le Mans, guess what? It don't have a transaxle. And if this is supposed to be a canvas for some race car, why did they even make the F80 in the first place? They already have their hypercar that's winning Le Mans. You see all this waffling I've been onto for the last 24 hours? The fact is we can't get angry about the V12 leaving if we don't know why it was there in the first place. Because at the time of the old race cars and the Formula 1 race cars, they all had V12s because they were extremely powerful, well balanced, just amazing engines. But technology has moved on. A lot of things are going hybrid. And you know what else is going hybrid? The Ferrari race car that just won Le Mans. Yeah, Ferrari finally won something. As Ferrari has moved on with new technologies, the V6 has come into their race car. We hate on the Ferrari F80 for one reason. It came after the race car. That's the only reason. Because it came after the real race car, we're blinded thinking this is some new hypercar that's gone wrong. No, it's pointing to the real race car. It's the road going comfortable 499p. Because the picture we have in our minds is build a production car first, and that's the canvas for the real race car. But this time it was switched around. It's an extraordinary car. Although, like I mentioned, obviously this is not a road racing car like a GT3 RS. It's soft, extremely comfortable, although it does have a lot of power. But I'll tell you what is wrong. If you're putting a V6 in your car to point to the real race car, then why on earth do you have a transaxle from the 70s? There's a reason to not hate this car, but there also is a reason to hate it. Tell me what you'll think in the comments below. Check your petrol heads.